Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. This is Snapshot 20W27A and no, this is not a snapshot for 1.17. It's a snapshot for 1.16.2 and a new mob is being added to the game known as the Piglin Brute. And if you need a reason to subscribe to my second channel, well, you would have seen this earlier in the week as we posted a video about this new mob. And that's because the Minecraft devs were tweeting about it earlier in the week, and it was also in the Bedrock edition of the game, so we actually got to get a little bit of a preview of this mob, seeing it in Bedrock before we did in Java edition of the game. Now it is quite unusual for Mojang to add in a new feature like a mob into a, let's call it a point update, 1.16.2. And they added it because they didn't have time to squeeze it in for the major update. So this is a bit of a one-off, and it's going to be the only new proper feature added in these snapshots. Now these brutal piglins over here, they were spawned in using spawn eggs. The place that they'll actually spawn in the world is inside the Bastion Remnants. And I've been doing a little bit of crude testing to figure out how many of them actually spawn in here. And I've learned that they seem to spawn between about 5 and as much as 20 or more inside one of these structures, and they spawn when it is generated. So if I were to kill all the mobs that were here, then fly away and come back again, they wouldn't actually respawn, so they'll only generate once with the structure being created in your world. Now the method I used for testing this was to teleport 1,000 blocks away from the last Bastion Remnants. Then I would locate the next one, which of course wouldn't be the same one. And then I would run this command to get all of the piglins to say test in chat, and you can see that this one has 6. So inside of this smaller Bastion remnant, only 6 of them were generated. So then I would kill all of the piglin brutes that were here, teleport myself all the way up above the roof of the Nether so that all of those mobs would despawn, then teleport myself back down again, going to creative mode, fly around a bit, and see if any of the piglin brutes would respawn, but none ever would. So I'm pretty sure these mobs just spawn in with the creation of the structure itself. So the Piglin Brute is essentially a stronger version of the piglin that is meaner and tougher to fight against. It can't be distracted by gold either. As you can see, I'm throwing gold down on the ground, but this guy just doesn't care. And they always seem to spawn holding a golden axe, a nether, a crossbow, or a sword. Now it also has a lot of health. It's got 50 points of health, which is 25 hearts, compared to the player's 10 hearts. That's over double the amount of health. Now the Piglin Brute doesn't seem to have anything in its loot table. And when I say doesn't seem, I've actually looked at the loot table and it's got nothing in it. And that appears to be the case. They only drop XP when they're killed. However, on Bedrock Edition, they occasionally drop their golden axe, so I'm not sure what the plan for that inconsistency is. Now, another feature about these fellas is they're actually going to ignore your golden armor. So if you're wearing golden armor, the piglins will leave you alone, but the Piglin Brute is an exception to this rule. So let's go ahead and go into survival mode. And yep, I've been spotted. It's coming after me despite wearing gold. The next thing we need to check though is how much damage it does. So I'm going to take off this armor now, and this time I'm going to stand here and let it attack me, and we'll see how much damage it does. Come on, buddy. Here we go. Look at that. 9.5 hearts of damage. I am toast. So my friends, we are inside the mind of the Piglin Brute. I thought we'd summon in one with no AI so we can have a close-up look at its texture here, as we've learned pretty much everything there is to know about this. Now when it comes to fighting this thing in survival, I actually think this is a really interesting change because it makes the Bastion Remnants obviously a lot harder, right? But if you go in there wearing gold armor, you won't attract the attention of the piglins. So there's kind of a trade-off. Do you want to go in with full armor and fight everything, or do you want to wear a little bit of gold and just focus on the Piglin Brutes first? Overall, I think it's cool to have another mob added to the game. Now there are more changes in this snapshot, but I thought I'd jump into my myth-busting world as I've recently made a couple of new episodes covering 1.16 where we do all sorts of classic tests on mobs, and one of them was actually to see what of the new mobs could be leashed with a lead, and we learned that the Hoglin could, but the Zoglin couldn't, and when the Hoglin turned into a Zoglin it would then pop off. But the change in this snapshot is that the Zoglin can now be leashed. Now it popped off. That's interesting. Let's try and leash it. It pops off when it changes, but you can still leash it. So that's the change. The Zoglin can be leashed. And another simple change in this snapshot is fungus, both crimson and warped, can now be placed on the mycelium block. There is also a change to mushrooms. You can now place them on top of Nilium, which kind of makes sense because these are fungus too, right? So before you couldn't place them there, now you can place them down and actually grow them into the giant mushrooms too. And a technical change in this snapshot, small improvements to the data and resource pack selection screens. I couldn't actually see anything different in the resource pack screen, but in the data packs, the default now has a grass icon instead of the cobblestone one. And as you can see, the data packs now support having their icon displayed in this menu, whereas before they would simply just display the cobblestone. Now this snapshot has some really big bug fixes in it, and some of them are really quite old as well. This first one I've seen many times, but I'm unable to recreate right now. It's where you're looking at an entity like an item frame, and the center of it is off your screen and then it disappears. But as you can see, we can still see the item frames at the top. So I'm going to put some images on the screen from the bug report so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm sure many of you have seen this at some point or another, and it's supposed to be fixed in this one. And here is another old bug that has caught me out many a time. When you're holding down shift to stay on a block, but you're heading downwards, you can fall off like that. It is really annoying. It doesn't work the same way when you're going upwards, but only when you're going downwards. So now in the latest snapshot, let's try it. I'm holding down shift. Oh, that is a blessing. That is an absolute blessing. I tell you, if ever you're on some scaffolding, holding down shift, trying to build something up in the sky, and you've fallen off, I think this is the bug fix that'll stop that from happening. Awesome. I love that. This next one is another big deal. It's related to mob heads, especially when you're in single player mode. If you've ever used a more mob heads data pack or tried to bring in your own head into the world using a command like this, then you go and change your skin and all of a sudden you lose the skin on the original head. They basically change to whatever skin is currently equipped. This is known to be a bug. It's supposed to be fixed in this one. So it means you can change your skin, give yourself a head, change it back, and that head will keep that skin. Slime blocks are apparently not pushing entities as high up in the sky as they did do in 1.15.2. They were only pushing them 5 blocks and now they push them 6 blocks again. There was an issue that could cause items to get stuck on the soul sand down the bottom here. I haven't seen this myself, but if you have, in this update they shouldn't be able to get caught on the soul sand. An issue I'd seen myself is the resource pack screen not updating, so you open up your pack folder, you go and put in some new resource packs, and you actually had to restart the entire game to get this to update again. So now it should actually detect new resource packs and not cause you to restart your game. There was an issue with iron golems overpopulating naturally spawned villages. If you had seen that, hopefully this update will take care of those extra iron golems that shouldn't have been spawning in. There was also an issue that could cause ruined portals to spawn without a chest next to them, which shouldn't be so you should always get a chest next to your ruined portal now. And this last bug was one that I showed in the release candidate video we put out on this channel, that minecarts were no longer burning in lava or being destroyed by them. And yep, I'm playing on the latest snapshot and they still seem to be immune to lava. In fact, it's even getting pushed along by the lava at the moment. And as always, there were more bug fixes, but I just picked out the most relevant ones, and that brings us to the end of the video. So if you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like, make sure you're subscribed, and if you want to catch some 1.16 content, well, there is plenty on my channel. There's myth busting, there's new episodes of Hermitcraft, go and check them out if you haven't done so already. And thanks for watching this one. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.